Every woman needs to know this information. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe so every woman gets notified about understanding how her cycle really works. Let's go ahead and start off with the beginning of our new cycle, which is what we're all familiar with, the menstrual phase. During this phase is when our body is actually clearing out everything that it just built up from the previous month to prepare for new life to come in. You might experience some cramping, some contractions, because your body's actually removing parts of itself when it comes to your uterus in order to clear out the old lining that it built up to support potential life. And usually this can be about 3 to 7 days, right? Every single woman is different when it comes to her cycle. Even though your menstrual phase is starting during this time, your early follicular phase also starts during this time. So when it gets down to the follicular phase, what does that mean? When it comes to our ovaries, we actually have follicles. Now these follicles are kind of like little homes, if you want to think of it that way. And these little homes, these follicles, actually have immature eggs in those follicles. Those eggs that you were born with. Follicular phase is the time when your body is taking those immature eggs that were not developed and developing them. And there's about 1,000 follicles at a time that will work to mature those eggs. And the body will recognize the biggest one, the most dominant one, the best one. Okay, so your body chooses the best egg to continue to mature. During this time, we have a little more energy, our estrogen level starts to increase, and we feel more productive, we feel a little bit more balanced, right? Now, once that egg is done being matured in the follicular phase, that's when we move into ovulation. Sometimes, if you're under a lot of stress, if you're not getting the right nutrients, if your lifestyle is impacting your health, this will impact the way the body will mature the egg and then prepare for ovulation. There's a whole system involved when it comes to what hormones are triggering what actions the body will take. When it comes to ovulation, this is the key point in your cycle that will move you to the next phase. Without ovulation, you're not going to hit the next phases afterwards. So you're actually going to be stuck in that follicular phase. During that time, the body is still producing estrogen, and the estrogen is responsible for thickening the lining of your uterus. What happens when we don't hit ovulation? Now we have a whole delay in our cycle, or sometimes our cycle starts really early. A lot of times we're confused because we hit that menstrual phase again and we're like, what the heck? I feel like I'm starting my new cycle, my period all over again. So why is this happening? Eventually, because the lining is not stable enough to continue to be strong and built up, which is what is going to happen when you hit that next phase after ovulation, which we'll talk about in a minute, the body will then just start to break it down. And that is what's creating your menstrual phase. All right, so let's say everything does go great with your follicular phase, and then you move into ovulation. The body will then release the egg. Now, here's another thing people don't talk about. Sometimes they might say, oh yeah, you're ovulating, you're in your ovulation phase, right? Well, ovulation is actually just one day. So the egg will then be released once the body sends a signal to release the egg. Once our body gets a signal to release the egg will then be dropped for fertilization. And during this time, we feel more vibrant, we feel more confident, our libido is higher, we're more creative, and we just feel great. But if that egg isn't fertilized within 24 hours, it dies completely, disintegrates. But what's really fascinating is that even though it's just that one day, immediately once the body will release the egg, it will move into the next phase, which is going to be the luteal phase. It's the time when your body is preparing for pregnancy just in case, whether there was fertilization or not. And that's when your body will start to produce progesterone. Now, another fascinating thing that happens is that follicle actually transforms into what's called a corpus luteum to produce the progesterone. Now, progesterone is actually designed and meant to help us feel calm and relaxed. And so when we talk about the luteal phase, there seems to be this mismatch because a lot of women are like, I don't feel like that. In fact, I feel awful. I feel worse. My mood is awful. I feel so irritable. I feel crazy. What's going on during this phase? And that is because we either have an imbalance with our estrogen levels, our diet is not supporting progesterone, or we're under so much stress that the body is preferring to create more cortisol to help you defend against stress over creating progesterone, which would be perfect for you to create life. In fact, progesterone is so important for the first 8 weeks of life. So if your body doesn't have enough, then this can lead into miscarriages and failed pregnancies early on. Now, your early luteal phase can be anywhere between 5 to 7 days. And once the body realizes there's no fertilization, then it moves into the late luteal phase. And during this time is when your body starts to transition to the new cycle. So remember, like I said, that corpus luteum produces the progesterone. If there's no fertilization, that corpus luteum begins to break down, causing for progesterone to drop and activating our new cycle to start all over again. All right, well, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, thank yourself for showing up today, and thank you for tuning in to Divine Feminine Wellness.